Do you want layup timing and a layup meter for NBA 2K? Focus on 19. You gave up on 19 already. Stop worrying about 20 and fix 19 on 19. 2K19 gets dropped. Oh man, what a mess we have here. Wang dropped a tweet last night asking about NBA 2K20 already. It was December 4th when he sent that tweet. And for people who don't have any idea how video game production actually works, I get how that could be concerning. NBA 2K19 has obvious problems and they're already asking questions about the new one. So honestly, it was really just a low-hanging fruit. Very easy to badger him and talk about how they've quit on this game already. But look, just to go ahead and answer the question, NBA 2K19 is not dead already, and they have likely not stopped working on it. Look, first things first, Christmas is in 20 days. It's very likely that a lot of new people are going to get 2K19, so in a way you can say this game hasn't even officially started yet. Christmas is a time when people really start to get into the NBA, and kids that are in school that don't have their own money, this is when they're going to get it. But on to the other point, this isn't even anything out of the ordinary. Whether it's ideal for the consumer or not, 2K is a yearly release. I know time is flying because it seems like it was only a week ago that I was standing in line for this game, but in case you didn't notice, we are damn near in January. That's gonna put them at max, 8 months out from a new release? So to go through that process of releasing a game yearly, I'm pretty sure they were already working on 2K20 like before we even had 2K19 in our hands. Game design really is not a joke. But anyways, to the more important points. This is Wang, gameplay director, asking if we want layup timing and a layup meter. And I find that interesting because you really don't need one without the other, right? The only reason you would need a layup meter is if you actually had to time them, and so without one goes the other. So that means for NBA 2K20, they're probably already toying with the idea of taking out timed layups. And as you can see, the poll at the time was 59% yes and 41% no. I voted yes. I actually voted yes on accident. I hadn't read the full question. I really glanced at it and just saw layup meter and I was like, yes, please don't take the layup meter out. That is the most common sense thing in the world. But layup timing. Okay, let's have a conversation about layup timing. When did actual layup timing enter NBA 2K? Off the top of my head, I remember NBA 2K17. I played a hell of a lot of 2K16 and I don't remember having to time the layups. I remember that being a new thing that they added in 17. So I'm gonna go ahead and say it. Nothing good has come out of having to time your layups. For the last 3 years now, it's just been this really clunky feature and it either works too much or it doesn't work at all. I have a specific memory of a game I was playing in my dorm room during 2K17 when it first came out. It was the Celtics and Knicks, and of course I was the Celtics, and me and my opponent went back and forth just missing layups over and over again, and he had his mic on and I heard him on the TV just saying, come on, like this is too easy to miss. That was back in 2K17. In 2K18, that was the absolute worst game for layups. Not only did you have to time them, you didn't have a meter. You had to do it by the vibration on your controller. That made zero sense because online has latency, then you're trying to time it with the vibration. It just makes much more sense to have something visual, have a visual cue to know when to time your layups. But even with that, they were so broken because you're working with your timing and you're working with heavily contested shots, getting in the paint. So 2K18, that's the one thing I'm always going to remember about that game is that layups were just infuriating. And so then NBA 2K19 drops and even though it's not perfect, it seemed like they had it in a place that it hadn't been for the last 2 years. I was actually making layups and I was making post shots for the first time in a really long time. Because in 2K18, you guys watch my videos, I always said, the post is absolutely useless in that game because layups are useless. Those two go hand in hand, so nobody really wanted to use big men. So they had it in NBA 2K19 when it came out, but as you saw in the video I made a month ago, they pretty much went backwards. In no way is it as bad as 2K18, but it's gotten pretty bad. And the part that trips me out about this is the 2K apologists. Like even though 2K has clearly been lazy in some areas, you wouldn't believe it, this game still has people trying to stand for it. So I made that video and I showed blatant examples of wide open missed layups, and I still had idiots in my comments. Oh, well, first of all, your release isn't good. Yeah, I know Yao Ming is 7.5 feet tall, but I'm still gonna justify why he's missing layups. And I'm just sitting back reading that like, man, this is the most head-assery I have ever seen in my life. First off, talking about releases in terms of layups, and just in terms of in the game period, very rarely do you get perfect greens when you're playing online or you're playing like 5-on-5 actual teams. Green releases are not common. So what that means is 90% of the time, you're falling inside of a range between late and early. And the reason that to me that's so unnecessary for layups is because you're already dealing with the contest down there. So take for instance when I was breaking down how I had a clear size advantage over Austin Rivers and I had him pinned behind Tracy McGrady and the layup still sailed over the rim. So I'm guessing that had something to do with timing. But what would have been closer to reality, because I, the player, did the work to beat Austin Rivers on that move, T-Mac should turn, and he should just lay that right up. But in cases like this, sometimes you get like what happened here where for whatever reason T-Mac started fading away from the goal, but more often than not, it's gonna factor in your timing. I personally don't agree with that. I think for layups to simulate 90%, 95% of professional basketball players around the rim, if you do the work to get there, and it should be uncontested, then timing the layup really just seems extra. And that's how I felt when they announced it in NBA 2K17. I was like, timing jump shots I get. In real life, we time our jump shots, right? I mean, it's muscle memory. After you practice your form for a while, you know when you're releasing it. But that's the whole thing about jump shooting, it's timing your release. You let go of the ball at a certain point in your jump. So yeah, that completely makes sense. I always play on timing whenever I do jump shots in the game, I do timing. For layups, however, you got people double clutching. Sometimes you have to stay in the air a bit longer to, get some hang time on your opponent. There's a bunch of different ways to get a layup to the rim. But it's such an easy shot, especially when wide open, that if they didn't have this feature in 2K20, I wouldn't be mad. Because we've tried it for 3 years now, and they simply have not been able to strike a balance. 17 was bad for layups, 18 was terrible for layups, and they've been tinkering with it in 19, but it's starting to trend closer to 18. So why don't we just put it back the way it was before when we weren't timing them? The obvious thing that devs are having a hard time balancing is, okay, when you're down low, they have to balance your timing versus the contest. And so if the contest is out of whack, which it has been, where all the guy has to do is just stand there, he doesn't actually have to contest your shot, but he just has to stand there. If they're gonna count that as a strong contest or a contest, and then your timing is late or early, that's how you get the result where we're at now, where you start missing layups that should not be missed. It's been a balance that, in my opinion, they just have not been able to strike. So I see they're thinking about it, and while it looks like most of the Twitter users do want it to be in the game, I guess I'm on the minority on this one. In 2K20, I would like to see the depth of this system that they have not been able to get right since they introduced it. And before I end this video, for you apologists that were in my comment section on the video where I talked about the layups going backwards, please explain these JaVale McGee misses.
McGee a screen. Shot clock at 6. No good on the shot, a bit long that time. Top the key. No good. They had a chance to end the run there.
The defense was in the area, but not really effective. He has to put away this layup.
I guess I should just get better at the game, right? Anyways, hit the like button, comment, and sub if you enjoyed, and hit the bell next to my name if you want notifications on future videos. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.